how do we enhance these, the longevity of donor relationships and optimize that lifetime value, LTV? How do we start doing that in our work?
So let's again take a moment here to define what LTV is. Yes. And at its core, it's almost exactly what it sounds like. What is the value of an individual over their lifetime? And their lifetime, at least in our interpretation, is the length of their support to the organization. That starts when they make their first donation, even if they're part of your community before, they haven't yet financially given you any value yet, but it ends potentially at the time of their passing. Not everyone does that, obviously, but that's the potential length of time here. And when it comes to optimizing that, and I like to use optimizing rather than maximizing, because it includes, that word includes the donor's perspective. That is ultimately how you optimize their value. And when I say take that perspective, again, the use donor-centric is used a lot and is differently defined. I don't just mean using the tactics that are effective, like using the word you a lot in copy, or showing images of people or animals with the eyes on the camera, which are all good, proven tactics. What I mean by that is really taking the time to understand, why did this donor, why did this person actually take the action of sending you a financial donation? Why did they send you some cash? And again, this my personal ethos here. People can use their money for a lot of different things. And when they choose to make a financial donation to a nonprofit or a charity, it's because they want to see something change in the world. And Absolutely. They've chosen your charity to bring about that change. That donation is them acting on the change that they want to realize. So our natural inclination is almost guilt-ridden, that, oh, you gave us a gift, thank you so much, we're not going to bug you. And the flip side here, again, to optimize their lifetime value, is to say, you, Tasha, has given us $50. Let's thank her. Let's show her what's happening because of that. And then let's ask her again, because she has shown that she wants to conserve important environmental areas and the species that live in it, or whatever your charity is. I donate to NCC because I want my baby to grow up in a world that's not on fire. So
that's totally great planning there. Yes, I like that.
So if I was to donate to an environmental cause, then they should continue to approach me with it and keep showing what my gifts have done. That is the core of optimizing lifetime value.
I love this.
The other piece, the next thing is strategically optimizing lifetime value, not from a donor side, but from an organizational side, is take time to look at your donor base and specifically see where is your revenue coming from, your large transformational bucket of revenue. In most cases, this will be major giving and planned giving. In some, it might be a large pool of monthly donors. It could even be a large pool of small value donors, but you should identify what's the source of revenue that's moving the needle for you.
Yeah.
You want to look at that over a long-term period. So 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that kind of time frame. What we found for us is that the significant majority of our revenue comes from major and planned gift donors. And a significant majority of those don't start off that way. They start off as small value donors. So the natural conclusion there is, if we want to raise more money to do more conservation, we need more major and planned gift donors. If we need more major and planned gift donors, we then need to get more small value donors who are then retained and guided towards those donation options. That's not going to be true of every organization, especially I think about hospital foundations, I think about arts foundations. You're going to get a lot more major giving coming just straight in the door.
Yeah.
But for the vast majority of organizations, take a look at your source of PG, planned gifts, and major gifts. See where they started. And if they are a significant source of your revenue right now, that type of giving, focus on how they first entered your community.
I love that. I like that retrospective look. And I mean, I have so many questions. I know they're not even stuff that you and I had originally talked about, but I mean, I'm just curious even about, like, as you're talking, like, what level of segmentation is NCC doing? And are you actually, like, I know we talk about segmentation as in, is it organic traffic? Was it come through paid media? But maybe more importantly, what kind of donor relationships are people looking for, right? Like, how do we communicate effectively about relationship and do relationship building work without tracking truly some of that piece as well?
So I'll go back to what we talked about early on about the relationship between fundraising and marketing here.
Yeah.
We spend, again, starting with that premise that we are trying to grow our base level of donors because they're going to become the high value donors that drive real change. How do we get those lower value donations to come in the door? We have to first attract them to our work. And that digital marketing team has a bunch of different products that's primary purpose is to grow our overall community.
Yeah.
Grow the awareness of the brand, create those initial impressions about NCC so that when they get a package, they actually do want to give it to us. Or they're even capturing emails to get them engaged and subscribed to our various communications. But they have a lot of different programs, like our personalized nature coach series to get people with personal guidance on how to connect more nature, or our Naturescapes virtual tours of properties. There's lots of different vehicles. Because they're being run with specific goals, cost for acquisition, number of leads generated, as we filter them through our fundraising efforts, we can start to track not just the cost per lead of the program and the cost to acquire on the fundraising side. We can actually start to track what was the cost to acquire a donor via Nature Coach versus Naturescapes. So you might have a program that's generating, say, 100,000 leads. And of those 100,000 leads, one becomes a donor. You might have another program that generates 10,000 leads, but 100 people become donors.
Absolutely.
Which one's more valuable? It's not necessarily the more donors. It depends on where your organization is at. If you're trying to grow your community, the breadth and the reach, you might want all those people to just know about you, even if they're not ready to give yet. If you have a large community, you're trying to take that next step financially, then you want a program that's going to drive new donors based on how they were initially acquired to engage with you. So it's a long way of saying that the relationship starts with how they first enter your community.
Yeah.
And the different vehicles of entry can be tracked and should be connected to your actual efforts to solicit them. That way you can put a dollar value on what's an acceptable cost to acquire, not just a donor, but a lead.